Hi there, and welcome to another relaxing long play. Today, we tend to the needs of our people, continue to build up resources for our castle, and defend from those that would do us harm. So, without further ado, grab a drink, make yourself comfortable, and relax alongside me in Manor Lords. And with the rain pouring down in July, we're swiftly moving towards the harvest. We have just 58 days until the harvest begins, and so hopefully these rains are giving us a good watering so that everything might grow well through the summer. You can see our great orchards here, producing fruit. But what we probably need to do pretty much straight off, as we see a few resources being damaged by the rather poor weather, is head on over to our newly claimed region and make sure that we're continuing with efforts relating to rebuilding what was lost. So we're looking okay here for food and fuel for the time being. We've got 21 timber, no planks as yet, but we do have tools coming in. So let's check what we've got going on here with trade. So we're importing tools and we're importing rubble stone. And that's allowing us to rebuild the granary, which is here. So let's get a couple of families working at that granary straight away. And let's continue to commit to rebuilding that which was lost all those seasons ago when we saw the raiders first come to attack this fledgling settlement before it was under our control. So let's just search out any additional rubble here and rebuild it. Let's get someone working at that logging camp there so we can continue to bring in more materials. And once we've everything set to be rebuilt, we'll quite happily leave the people here to it. Looks like we are going to need to get a saw pit functional. Do we have one rebuilt already, or is that one of the items we're still working on? Is that over here by any chance? No, it doesn't look like it. In that case, we might need to build one afresh. So let's go ahead and do that. Get a saw pit down here, so we can start to make some planks to repair that which we can't repair using logs alone. We'll get a couple of families working on fishing, and hopefully that will continue to tide us over in terms of food production here. Over in Mandlick, we can see that our hillside farms are being worked at a steady pace, and they have a rather beautiful view over the orchards, some more of the farm plots, and then right the way over to our fields here. Still got a little while before the harvest, so we don't need to worry about labour for that just yet, but when it does come to that, we'll probably need to free some people up. And we were thinking here of making sure we can get some upgrades going. So let's get a family working in the mining pit. And where is our clay furnace? So we don't need anyone working the communal oven. Oh, having said that, it looks like we might have a little bit of flour left over. 50 wheat flour, so we do need people working the communal oven indeed. So we'll leave them to it. Let's order an extra ox while we're about it. And clay furnace. We have got someone working here. How are we doing for clay though? We've got 6 roof tiles. But in terms of clay, we haven't got any. So for the time being, I'm going to unassign that family from the furnace. And I'm going to set them to mining up the clay. And once we've got a little bit stashed away, then we can use that to make the roof tiles that we need to upgrade the church to the next level. We're also going to need some dressed stone and mortar. How are we doing here for rubble stone? We've got a little bit of rubble stone. We'll need to import the dressed stone though. So we would do well to continue to mine salt at a steady rate until we've got rid of the surface deposits. And the royal tax is going up again. Let's actually convert that into a deep mine. And we'll continue to trade. We're doing pretty well here. I thought we were doing pretty well for pork. We might need to get some additional housing set up. And we do need some actually, because we haven't got anywhere for people to move into. So let's do that right now. Let's pop down some additional burgage plots. And these are going to be small dwellings once again. And they're really just there. Let's pop a road up here so we don't cut ourselves off. And get some housing down. As I was saying, these are really here just to provide us with a little bit of extra space for people to live. And also to increase our pork production. And with increased pork production, we can start to potentially make some sausages at the butchers. And using those sausages at the butchers, we can, with the salt and the pork that we have, we can export that as a food item, which should be a pretty good export for here and bring us enough money that we can start importing some dressed stone. And let's pop over the fence to Brunbach, the boat-based capital. And as always in the capital, things are very busy. We've a great many people living here now. And a great many animals as well to boot. So we've got some we need to set up here. And it looks like we've actually possibly run out of living space already, even with all of our new dwellings. We've been so preoccupied with the other regions. It's like the fuel situation has been somewhat stabilized. And where at one point we were adding a living space at a brace of knots, we're not quite there anymore because we're still not quite producing enough clothing for everyone. And the beverage is dropping in and out as to whether or not people have access. So what's holding us up in our clothing production chain? So we have plenty of wool, we've got plenty of yarn, and we've actually got some linen as well. So that would suggest that our limiting factor is still tailors. Even with a productivity on some of these as high as 96%, which is quite significant. So with that in mind, once again we're looking at adding more tailors shops. So let's target some of our dwellings down here, I think. So we've already got one set up here. What's the productivity of this family? 59%. Spending a bit of time waiting, which might be because they're too far away from a wool supply, but we do have, this here. Having said that, most of our weavers are over here, so we've already turned everyone here into an artisan except for this goat and this chap here. So let's turn both of these into tailor shops, and this is quite quickly becoming Tailor's Row. As soon as that's done, we'll pop back over and make sure that they are set to produce the right type of clothing. We have plenty of labour available at the moment. That is going to change once it comes time for the harvest, which is just 8 days away now, so we'll slow things down just a little bit to make sure that we've got enough time to get everything we want to done. So now probably isn't the time to embark on a large building project. But having said that, we will upgrade these burgage plots to level 2. And where are we going to put our next sprig of housing? Ideally what I'd like to do next is upgrade our existing housing to level 3 to increase the living space we have available to us. But I don't know if that's going to be completely feasible, depending on how quickly we sort the clothing problem. I was just popping a couple of foresters in there to make sure that we don't run out of our wood forest over here. So it might be that we could add some housing on this side of our field here, because our fertility kind of runs out there. We've got more fertility here, so we're definitely not going to want to build anything in that area. But if we kind of continue this road on across here and back in down here, smooth that out a little bit if we can, that kind of marks out. Doesn't actually quite mark it out, does it? Let's try that again by taking a road across here. We'll curve that just a little bit as well. We'll get rid of this road and then just finish that one. Maybe straight down like that. So this is an area where we could potentially build some housing in, while still leaving this open for farmland. And we could get quite a few burgish plots in here, especially if we go a little bit denser. So that might well be a good option. But in the meantime, let's check where we are with pork and chicken, etc. Mutton. So we've got lots of pork. And how are we doing for hides? Got 12, we could have more. And we haven't got any chicken, so we've got this chap making shields. Let's set all of these to goats then. So that we can produce some additional hides in the pursuit of producing a little bit more leather. I don't think we'll convert any of these to small holdings necessarily. Maybe some of these larger. Yeah, so we made that a small holding. Let's do the same to that one. And the same to this one, because they are very large. We are going to need to have additional families though because of that. So we'll build some smaller residences that aren't going to be small holdings. And that's going to help produce a workforce for when the fields need harvesting. Which is now just 3 days away. Let's pop in and check if we're done with construction here. Looks like we've done one, so yep, let's set that one to produce woolen clothes. And then just as soon as this one here is done, we'll set it to the highest priority so we can move on. And let's get an additional worker at this storehouse to help with supply and production. And we'll just wait till we get here on this burgish plot. Soon we're going to need to turn our attention to the harvests. Come along, workforce. You wouldn't think that there are 7 free unassigned families, would you? We're not going to be able to keep those workers we popped in the forestry during the harvest either. And I think we're probably there, so we need to actually pull off and check where we are. Yep. So it's harvest time. So what I'm going to do, let's have a look. How are we doing for our firewood versus charcoal? Got a fair bit of firewood that can be turned into charcoal. So what that tells me is we can afford to take out some of our workforce from our woodcutters' lodges as well. Don't suspect you're doing much, so we'll grab you out of the windmill as well. We've actually already got a full assignment of workers there, so that's good. So let's come across here and fill up our other farms and liberate some workers from these woodcutters' lodges so that we can still have some construction going on during the harvest as well. Order a horse for some reason. Going to going to need to reforest this pretty soon as well. Okay, so let's go over to Frost Check. And as usual, no, I haven't actually got anyone working on the fish. Looks like we have got a reasonable amount of food though. All the foragers hut. Looks like everyone actually is still in the farmers' houses. Or in that one at least. Let's assign some families to work in this one. And we'll reduce the number of foresters by 2. Maybe 3. And we'll get a couple of farmers working there. And we'll see how they get on. Also take some of the charcoal workers. Definitely don't need any woodcutters working at the moment either. We can fill them up at this farmhouse. And hopefully that'll speed along the process here. Over in Hagstrass, we'll do the same. So we've got a fair bit of labour available here, so we'll fill up that farmhouse. As for the others, we will take out the workers from the windmill and we'll set them to working. Here where we've got 2 workers in a forester's hut, we will take one of those. We'll get one of those working at the foragers as well. And we'll free up a couple of workers from the quarries to go and work in the farms. And I think we'll probably also want to get a couple of families working at the fisherman's hut here. And we'll source those workers from positions where they're not currently needed as well. Order an ox while we're at it. Okay, we'll need to come back here to think about housing. So let's just go over to our last farm settlement, Manor. And they've already got plenty of people working here at the farms, so we don't need to worry about that too much, but we'll assign 2 contingents in any case to make sure they've got plenty of people working there, and we'll leave a couple of families then to work on these constructions. And we're going to focus on pork here for the minute, so that's going to be an extension for pigs. So we'll pop an animal pen down there. And then what I'd like to do is sweep on back over across the rolling countryside and make our way to our most remote settlement. Over here, Rumaho. And I think it would be wise, let's first of all get a family working at the saw pit and make sure that we've got a reasonable limit set here. So we want to have a surplus of at least, I'd say, 30 timber. And we don't need more than 500 planks. And I think it would be really good to get a garrison tower here as soon as possible, so that we have some protection, because this is quite a way from any of our other settlements, and we know what happened the last time bandits arrived over here. And actually, on the subject of bandits, I might deploy a garrison over here temporarily to act as protection. We've got a fully employed trading post here. Don't need that at all. And we might need to work on some labour allocations that have been left here by the AI for us. There's a few more things we can rebuild by the looks. So we'll set those to be rebuilt. Those require planks, that doesn't. So we'll get that rebuilt. We'll rebuild that. We've got a family working at that logging camp. We've got also 2 families at the saw pit. Okay, so that's progress here. 2 fishermen's huts being worked. Oh, that was the saw pit they had previously. Okay. And what I think we'll probably do, so that we're not disturbing any of our workforces, is we will deploy the retinue of Hagstras. And we will send them to go and guard over our new settlement over there. When they're done filing out of their lovely, lovely manor, where we keep all of our lads safely tucked away with us. And hopefully this rain doesn't spoil our harvest. And although it's not long since the invasion, we're going to send them over just to be a comforting presence so that the villagers know that we're in control and that there's not going to be... We're not going to give in easily to bandits if they come their way before they have their own retinue. Flagman is a little behind. Bannerman, I suppose you could call him. It might make more sense. So we're cracking on with the harvest, and lightning. It's not a good sign of the harvest, is it? So while the harvest is taking place here, we've got these new barley fields we're planning on planting up, which we haven't quite got to setting up yet. But really we're having a bit of a labour shortage here, so we need to start thinking about where our next housing is going to be. There's reasonable fertility here for flax, very good for barley. I don't want to go over anything that's got barley fertility really. Rye is going to be good everywhere, Emma's going to be basically good everywhere. What about the edge of this field then? Not good for Emma, not good for flax. Okay for barley, but we've got better offerings, like over here for example. So, why don't we build a road? Let's just double check where that barley facility got good. There's only +2 in there as well. We've got plenty of +2 there and some +3. Plenty of +3 over there. Not good for flax. So I think we're going to allocate this area to a new settlement. Let's build a road around this farmhouse and come down to the water here. And then we'll connect that up with our fishing hut here. We'll bring a road along the front. When I say front, I mean the sea. The lake. Not a sea. I suppose a lake is an inland sea. Anyway, let's not quibble over what is and what is not a sea. It's not really our purpose. And let's just delete that road so that we're not continuing it for no reason. And we'll take another connecting road. So we've got our manor here. Just as well continue that road down. And then we'll put another... Might not put them right against the border. We might finish some plots into there. So, now then, let's start with a little central area here. Which we will keep at... I might even go for a triangle. So we do something like this. Connect that up to the road. Down there. Down there. And then in the centre, let's get a granary and a storehouse. And we'll also pop down a market. Right into that corner if we can get in there. Along there. And maybe come down a bit further. Yeah, that looks good. And let's get a well. Frustratingly not inside of that triangle. Okay, I guess we'll have to put that one on the outside. Put that just here. And I think we're probably close enough to the church to not have to worry about that. One of these fields. across there. And let's delete that road and put it there because that makes a bit more sense. And with those amenities going in just there, we can then build some housing. It would be nice if we could come across the road here. And as most of our focus here is farming, we don't need terribly large burgish plots. So I think that's quite like that. So we'll set those for construction. And that's the start of a nice expansion to our main settlement we've got here, which is kind of hemmed in by fields now. And it pops us out on the water's edge as well. It will do by the time we've got it constructed. So how are our farmers getting on? So we're still in the harvest phase by the looks of things in frost check. In hang stress. Also still harvesting. It looks like we're coming towards the end of harvesting at least. Let's sweep on over and check up on our other regions. Nuremberg Boatland. In fact, it's probably about time. Boatlandia. It's terribly imaginative. Okay, I christened the Boatlandia after the very start of our little boat town here. I imagine here as well we're still, very much still in the harvest phase, to the point at which I wonder that we need to, in time for next harvest, build an additional farmhouse. We're into ploughing on the top farms at least, even if we are still harvesting on the lower, but there is lots to harvest here. Still okay on fuel, I'd like to be better. We do have spare families that get another charcoal kiln fully operational. $529 dressed stone. Ooh, very exciting. Well, as soon as harvest is done, we can finally start work on our first stone-walled castle. Very, very, very exciting. In Manlook, it looks like we're into ploughing, which is grand. They are quite large fields, which is why we have that many people working on them. And construction is gently continuing here with our new row of residences. Once these are up and running as well, I think we'll also open up this granary and this storehouse. We'll upgrade them also to get them operational. And let's go and check in on Perumaho. So our retinue has arrived to fly our flag. The harp and the sword. And we're watching over this land. We're still struggling a little bit with construction. I wonder if that's partly... We've only got 2 oxen. We've not started bringing in planks yet. We're not up to 30 timber though, so let's get a couple of additional families working at the logging camp so that we can keep the timber rolling in at a steady rate, so we can finally get going on production of planks. Let's check that we've got workforce. We've got 4 of the foragers up. Seems a little excessive. I'm going to drop that down to 3 to free an additional family up to work on construction. There's a little woodcutter's lodge there. Nicely nestled between 2 burgish plots. Quite like that. Kudos to the AI for that one. Let's fly back on over and And just continue to keep an eye on the harvest. About 2/3 of the way there as well to this castle. So it's not going to be the first. We are in fact going to get Boatlandia's castle constructed first, which is nice to see. How are we doing at these farms? Again, we're into ploughing now. I imagine it's the same for this one here. Yep, we're into ploughing. I definitely would like to expand our farmhouse capacity here. But we've plenty of construction going on here, which will be continuing well on into the winter. And we're almost certainly going to need to continue with some of the planting next year as well. Just as soon as we're done harvesting here in Boatlandia, we'll be able to move on with construction of the manor, which I'm very excited about. The first time I've built a nice dressed stone castle in Manor Lords, and I'm glad we're doing it in Boatlandia, such a historic town for us. And the manor as well, it is filled with orchards to provide fruit and even the harshest of siege. At least until someone lobs a flaming arrow over the wall, but we won't worry about that too much. Hopefully it's never something we have to consider. Looks like we've got a missing goat there. We'll get that one in straight away. Nice supply at this market. Not great on general goods, but again I think we're just, again, missing the clothing. We'll assign another family nonetheless. How many sheep do we have these days? 288 sheeps. That is a lot of sheeps. Still at 5 months on fuel. Turning that firewood into charcoal at a steady rate though. So we've got 3 iron slabs. Oh, we've got 60 ore though. Plenty of pole arms. Got a fair amount of mail armour as well. That's because we can't put it on anyone that isn't a level 3 citizen. So there's that still to come. Okay, well, we've obviously got a problem with bloomeries. And we constructed an additional one over here, if memory serves. We did. Let's get an additional family working there to continue turning iron. And now that we're still working in the fields, it's great. Now, we do have access, finally, to iron ore. Still shy on the plank front. Why are we not producing planks? What are you doing? What are you waiting for? Okay, just in case there's a problem, I'm going to turn off production limit. I'm going to turn this down to 20. Hopefully. Let's unassign them as well, and then reassign them. Yes, yes, you're charging me more every year. Soon we're not going to be able to afford that roll tax. I wonder what's going to happen then. Well, let's head on to the reconstructed sawpit. Got a family working there as well. Hopefully that's not going to hold us up too much, because I really would like to get the iron ore up and running here, if only so that we can sell iron ore back onto the market. And as we sell iron ore back onto the market, hopefully we can bring down the price of iron ore so that we can reduce how much we're paying for in terms of bringing it into our main settlement. Just doesn't look like anyone wants to do any work. Let's try assigning livestock so they can take some logs there and see if that helps. We may be waiting for logs to arrive. And while we're at it, let's build a couple of regular hitching posts. And we'll get in some additional oxen. So we're definitely still light on oxen. We've got some more homes here which need rebuilding. So we'll get those underway. Yeah, I do think we've got an oxen problem. So if we don't have any oxen to bring timber over to the saw pit, we're not going to get anything sawn. Okay, we'll leave them to it. How are we doing over at Mandlook? Still into ploughing, and we've got some of the planting done as well, so that's grand. So have we had anyone else move in? Yep, we have, so let's continue to build animal pens where people move in, so that we continue to get more pigs. How are we doing for... We've got 25 clay now. So let's get someone working at the clay furnace so we can start turning that into iron. Not iron, roof tiles. It'd be quite miraculous if we managed to turn that into iron, wouldn't it? Over in Frostjack. Food's looking better. And there's... Oh gosh, look at all these people in one field. They're really... It's like a plough party. That's brilliant. Oh, and now it's a seed party. Oh dear. Sowing party? Yeah, sowing party sounds better, doesn't it? It's better than seedy party. Look at the speed. It's a thing to behold. You blink and the field has been sown. Well, many hands makes for light work. And it looks like they're moving now on to making grain. So they're done. So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to set up a couple of these fields. And it's going to be barley, flax, and fallow. And do the same to this one. It's going to be flax, barley, fallow. And this one will be fallow, barley, flax. So see if we can get those done before winter is upon us. And hopefully there's enough of them at our various farmhouses that they can get that done. And when we do have people free, we'll crack on with construction of the new town area. Planks. Trumaho. Have you figured out planks? Not quite yet. Trumaho. You have got hitching posts, so let's order an ox. Do we have a livestock trading post? It's not jumping out at me. We know that doesn't mean it's not here though. Okay, do we need planks for a livestock trading post? We do not. Let's build a livestock trading post. I may have placed that somewhere we can't get to it. Well, let's just get rid of that. Little road in there. So that we can get some oxen here, because I think that's the issue. You might want to move around a little bit, men, because you're going to get frozen toes if you just stand there. There we are. It's moving. In fact, why don't we position you where you can watch over the town. Well, winter is well and truly settling in. In Boatlandia as well as elsewhere. So I'd imagine the farmers are pretty much done with what they can do for now. So let's reduce the number of workers there so they can still work on the grain and transporting. And let's get the windmills operational, because soon we shall have much grain which can start being turned into flour. These chaps are done as well, and for the most part we'll reduce that to 2 workers at that farmhouse. And we'll do the same to this one here. We've got that windmill there operational and one at the top as well. And with so many workers available, let's first make sure that we have the woodcutters' lodges occupied. And we'll get the other charcoal kiln operational. And as much as I want to build the manor house right now, we'll probably want to think about additional housing first so that we continue to grow our population. And we have a market here which is servicing basically all of this. If we put housing here, there isn't a nearby market. We'll have to build a new one, which isn't a problem in and of itself. But if we can go somewhere we don't have to do that, which might be here, because we've got this market here. And we've definitely got space where we can build some housing here. So let's take a road across here. And let's put a dividing road in there. And let's slap down a whole bunch of housing. Let's not go right over to there then. Let's go maybe to just about the corner there. Seems inefficient. Okay, let's instead just do a little block here. And then we'll do the same here. Again, just large enough so that we have space at the back to put some chickens or something. And we'll build a road behind those. Like so. And maybe once that workforce is assembled, we'll look to upgrade them, and it may even be this is a next winter job now. Put off again. Feels criminal, but we need a workforce. No point in having a castle in Boatlandia if the farms are desolate and unploughed. In Mandlik as well, we can unassign all but a couple families. We'll get the windmill operational. We may need 2 windmills. It looks like we have a lot of grain somewhere. 91 rye grain. Let's build one just in case we do need a second. Pop that one there. The freed up workforce can get back into the mine. And we need to upgrade these mining pits to deep mines as well. Building requires maintenance. You've got 100 tools, you should manage. That was a mistake. Start that one again. We want pigs. Yes. Pigs. So we'll continue to set up the housing here, and with plenty of workforce now available from the farms, we should fly along with that. We're also going to open up this storehouse and granary. We've got the roof tiles we need now. Let's build a lime kiln so we can produce our own mortar. Then it's just the dressed stone that we'll need to import. And we've got an extra spare family, so we'll put them up in that mining pit there. Construction is underway in Boatlandia. And let's go another ox. More ox never hurt anyone. I'd say one is not modest, one is nothing. to be perfectly honest. Always get more oxen. We like oxen. Upgrade that. Oh, and look at that. We've got our first couple of residents in our new estate. So let's get a few families working at the granary and the storehouse. And we're also going to upgrade both of those to large granary and storehouses straight away. As for what we're going to set these houses to do, we've got a little bit of pork and chevron. We're going to need chicken. So, how are we doing for hides? We've, oh my goodness, 213 hides. We need to increase leather production. And also, probably, get a shoemaker. Are we making shoes? I'm not making shoes. We can make shoes. Okay. Chicken. Buck. And what are we making here? Gambesons, which we're then trading away. We've plenty of yarn and no linen, so we've got flax, which is being turned into linen as and when we can. May need a second weaver's workshop at some juncture. But that's probably not just yet. Having said that, we are probably... How much barley have we got? I'm terribly distracted. No barley. We've already made it all into malt and traded it away, no doubt. And we need to get our windmills operational. So we'll assign some labour to those. Where is our tannery? Forger's Hut, Pack Station, Woodcutter's Lodge. I'm going to leave to some of the others now, actually. Marketplace, stable, granary, furnace, lime kiln, farmhouse, sawpit, logging, well, communal, malt, pack, communal, stable, store, granary, tannery. Aha! Granary, tannery. Okay, let's get an additional 2 workers, I think, at the tannery, because we've got plenty of hides, which they can be turning into leather. And let's pick one of these houses and turn them into a cobbler's workshop, so we can start producing shoes for our own populace. And let's get a secondary tailor's workshop to work on making clothes for our population here as well, locally. And that is a fair amount of progress, which is wonderful to behold. So then popping over to Hagstress, or as it's sometimes known, Lagstress, as I'm sure you've noticed on occasion. Let's get workers out of the farmhouse, get them back into the mines. How are we doing for stone here actually? 211 dress stone, so not enough just yet. And we're running out of new population centres also. Let's aim for some more goats here as well. And let's think about expansion of living space. So we've got a marketplace here. So I think a good place for housing, especially given the local fertility, it's going to be across here. Put that road there. And let's put a road in here. And let's get some housing on either side of this road. That's nice. Let's do the same on this side here. Very good. Certainly a little bit of extra housing here, isn't it? So much so we'll need to get additional families working that market, but I don't see that being a problem. And let's also make sure we've got a local water supply. Yokel water for yokel people. So that's going to give plenty of additional housing here in Hagstress. In fact, let's rename this. It's a very simple renaming. Lagstress. Because that is what this place does. To the tune of 4.3% so in this recording. In terms of lost frames, but I'm sure you don't want to hear that. Huzzah! We have planks available to us in Trumaho. And with thy planks, I shall build thy castle. Thou shalt. I need another 10. I'll take the rubble then. I'll take the mining pit if I must. And let's continue to order oxen. And let's look at our freshly constructed livestock trading post. And let's import oxen to the tune of 15. Because I'm mad and the odd number doesn't bother me. Honestly, it doesn't bother me. It doesn't even bother me a little bit. Yeah, okay, it might bother me a little bit, but only a little bit. I might come back and fix that later. Okay, more hitching posts, so we don't just buy oxen for them just to run away, because we can't upgrade to stables just yet. But we will need to. Fuel is down to 5 months. Do we have anywhere located a man that lops wood? Or that would be fortuitous. Don't need 2 trading posts. Let's get rid of that one. Just trying to spot anything that still needs repairing that we can repair. Such as that burgage flute. These guys haven't been frozen to death. That's good. Good, good. Let's see. Yield. woodcutters. So let's address that by building a modern woodcutters on the King's Road. And then we'll glide back on over to the home counties, like Strass, for example. As we construct our new population centre over here. And let's also pop down a couple of hitching stations over here. Uh-oh. Somebody's got the gold. I suggest they light a fire. Ever the helpful Manor Lord I am. Let's continue to construct some tingly bobs over here. Do you also fire? Yes, yes, yes. Boatlandia again. Heat yourselves up. Some hitching posts in here. And Boatlandia, how are we doing? Have you tried putting on clothes? Have we actually got trade open? I don't think we've got trade open on large shields yet, because we never actually got enough monies. So let's get into the trading post. I'm going to remove importing on tools, because we should be making those domestically. And what else? We're exporting wooden parts. Could export yarn. That might be a good option. In lieu of being able to afford large shields. Yarn do we have sat around 90. I don't think we do want to trade it though, because I really want to start finally at some point have enough clothes. Okay. We still need to work towards large shields here. What we might do is reduce taxation for the time being. Down to 10%. Just so we can keep a little additional funds in the coffers. And we should have some decent immigration now. Yeah, already we've got people moving in. And we wanted additional hides potentially. So we will start with some animal pens. As we move towards spring. We'll just work away all the way across this line. And the last few here, let's put down some apiaries. Okay. The thaw is fast approaching. So what I want to make sure we're doing as well this year, which we didn't do enough of I don't think last year, is planting. So I'm going to assign a bunch of families to the foresters' huts up here. And I also want to assign some families to the forester's hut down here. We might spread that across these two huts though. And that's something I need to replicate over here especially because we're starting to look pretty sparse. So let's get additional families working in these forester's huts. even as construction continues over here. And I might hold off on the chicken coops for a minute and focus on upgrading to level 2 so we can get an income from these. Let's order in an ox here and upgrade that to a stable. And pretty happy with the number of foresters we have over here, to be honest. I'll maybe pop an extra one down here. I'm quite enjoying this street here as it comes together. And then let's check in to see how we've got on. Over here we need to get some workers at this woodcutter's lodge. And this is probably somewhere else we want to start thinking about getting a forester's hut. Let's link up some roads. It's all a little bit all over the place here at the moment. Oh, I like that. That's very nice. Let's get down a few foresters' huts. You can tell that we've got a ox problem because look at all these logs we've got sat around here. Let's upgrade some of these hitching posts so that we have space for all these oxen we're starting to buy in. And we're finally rebuilding the church as well. And we've got a few properties ready for upgrading to Bergsport level 2. That's probably a plank thing, isn't it? That's probably a plank thing. Yes. Okay, well, we've stuff happening here, and they call it a mine. I do indeed call it a mine. It's mine, and it's going to mine. And with any luck, it'll yield us some iron ore, but not for a minute, because we need to make a deep mine, and we need planks for that. And we don't have planks. Not many yet, but we will get there. All in good time. All in good time. I'm a patient lord, and I can wait. But the seasons wait for no man, and February is drawing to a close, and the thaw has started. Spring is on the way, and with it fresh growth. With that in mind, let's make sure we've got a forager ready to shroom the mushies. What do you mean that's not how you say it? And over in Boatlandia, our first couple of residencies are ready for upgrading to give me money level, so we will oblige. And immigration is well up, so hopefully we'll solve the labour shortage problem we have in Boatlandia, and hopefully we will solve the fuel problem we have in Boatlandia as well. Let's expand this area here, and let's take some road across the back of these charcoal kilns and follow this road around. And we'll connect that across here in a few places, because we are going to need foresters' huts here too to keep up with the rapid rate at which we're going to be chopping down these forests to produce us the firewood we need for the charcoals. Charcoal kilns. Charcoals. So we'll get those built there ready. And we probably ought to start reassigning a few families to the farmhouses. We'll just keep an eye on it for a minute though and not worry too much about it. Lots of construction pressing forward. It's good to see Boatlandia growing again. We'll upgrade that storehouse then. Granary looks fine.
Feast your eyes on our fine selection.
Settlement level increased. Trumo. How lovely. Simply wonderful. Looks like we're done with that windmill. Royal tax increased again, because those people just can't be reasoned with. And let's continue with the ordering of piggies and the construction of animal pens. So we can keep to our pledge of getting that good sausage. So that we might export it. Because people like sausage. Let's also make sure we've foresters working here. And I think as well, we already need to think about expanding living space. So we'll put a few more streets here. Let's put a road like so. And build a row of terraces also like so. In this space here. Oh, terribly misjudged. Needs to be a little bigger. So we have space for extensions at the rear of our properties. Let's slot that in there. Very nice. Very nice indeed. And for a second, thought Mandalak was attempting to get in on the Lagstrasse naming. We might as well fill up that space there. Let's construct those. And then let's continue the road over. Let's go all the way to the not King's Road, but our windy road over there. And build more housing along here. Again with expansion space at the back. And then let's make these a little bigger. And these can be additional orchards. But if they're going to be orchards, we can be ridiculous. It might even be that we make these into yes. Make these into. That's a complete sentence, right? Don't think anyone noticed. Do you? Put those there. Build another road behind these. And that is a significant amount of expansion. Let's also get a forester. 2 additional foresters. And how are we doing with turning our flour? Yeah, looks pretty good. 124 rye flour, 0 wheat flour, and breb. How much breb have we got? 69 breb and 77 breb. So that's a fair amount of brebs. So that's okay. And Boatlandia, how are we doing? We do indeed need additional workers at the farm. So we'll fill that up. So we have people there. Do we need anyone at the upper farm? No, we don't. So that's fine. And how are we doing with all of our tailors? Those there. And
Firewood, firewood.
storage is full, that's fine. Pantry is full. These guys from trade routes? No, I don't think you are. Cold, it's autumn, what you want about? Honestly, people just love to complain.
Meat, meat. Get your meat here. So fresh it's practically still.
Practically still moving, eh? We are building up money here, which is good, so we're working towards getting enough for our trade route for large shields, which we continue to produce. And none of these have started yet, but we're probably still working on our construction over here. Properties that are quickly being filled up, which is good to see. Probably need to assign additional labour to this market at some point as well. How are we doing then? 0 clothes. Still plenty of yarn. And we've got... Even the families that make clothes don't have clothes. It feels ridiculous, doesn't it? We've got plenty of shoes? No, we don't. Are we trading shoes away? Even if we're not doing it here, we might be doing it at a barter station. No, we're not trading it. Do we have plenty of leather? There's so much to worry about, isn't there? We've got 11 leather, 19 hides. We might need to start thinking about getting a more... No, where's our... tannery? Here he is. Let's get you a couple more workers. And let's start to think about turning these animal extensions into goats when the time comes, so we can get additional hides. Which I think is going to be important. And hopefully one of these days we'll take care of this problem we have with clothing. And yeah, it's shoes as well, we're missing as well now. We'll get there. Boatlandia will thrive once more. She shall be overflowing with shoes and clothes. Y'all are free to go and do something else. Probably construction. In the new town. And these are quickly filling up, so we'll need to put in our next bunch as well. And are we still working these fields? Doesn't look like it. One regional wealth. At Lagstress. That doesn't seem right, does it? Haven't made that much progress on the stone either. What are we spending all of our money on? I think iron ore is slowly but steadily destroying all of our... 2,400. Iron ore is slowly but steadily destroying the economy across all of our settlements. So let's go over to Trumel. We're going to need to make more than 5 iron ore. Still got 1,075 on the surface. We've got space for some extra bits. Yeah, we can get one there. Let's actually demolish this one. And let's...
Well, perhaps it was simply a bad day. These things do happen
place
from time to time.
some mines here a little bit more efficiently. Let's get one right there. Get one down here as well. And right over here. And we might need to think about getting rid of these houses, because they're a little close to the mine. And we've got plenty of housing around. Apparently 27 available living spaces, so we don't need to worry about expanding that just yet. But hopefully this will mean we can really start extracting iron ore at a pretty fast rate. And then hopefully we can start flooding the market with it. And as we do that, we can significantly lower the amount of money we're paying out elsewhere, while also bringing in an income here, which would be very useful indeed for all involved. And let's also construct a charcoal kiln over here. So that we can start to turn some of that firewood we're gathering into a more efficient way to heat our homes. Don't have enough stable space. Well, let's continue to upgrade some of our hitching posts to stables. And where do we have those available to us? I take it is oxen at the bottom. Yes, it is. Okay. Well, we ordered them and they came. Let's upgrade that to a stable. Repair that place and that place. And I think that should solve the problem. As Lagstrass goes poor, I wonder if also as the price of dressed stone dropped significantly. Not significantly. We just don't have enough of a surplus at the moment because we're still trading it all away. And actually, we should be done sending dressed stone to Butlandia. 700, which is more than enough. So where is our bartering station? Next station. Sending charcoal, receiving dressed stone. Let's close this. And let's just double check we haven't got more than one doing it. Yep. This might also help with our situation with charcoal. Yeah, it's no wonder we had a problem with charcoal. Oh, that explains it. It's almost like I did this a while ago. I completely forgot. Yeah. Okay. Let's fly back on over here. And let's get rid of the barter connection this end as well. So I think we do have a pack station or two here. If we can find where we put them. Yep. So let's close this as well. Okay. Splendid. So how are we doing here for loads of rubble, tons of mortar, and lots of rough stone, so we're going to need to open another stonemason station. Let's build 2. Can we squeeze a second one in there? Doesn't look like it, unfortunately. So let's pop one there. And hopefully that's going to mean that we can start selling our dress stone again instead of just trading it all away with the pack stations. We should take care of the money problem for lag stress and the charcoal problem for Boatlandia. So we'll keep on keeping on with the construction project, the new village over here. And then we'll float back on over to Boatlandia. Continue to upgrade these dwellings as and when we can. And let's start ordering in goats. Because those goats we can use to produce more hides. And those hides are going to enable us to continue or reinvigorate rather our leather production and our shoe production. I might even put down tannery over here where a bit more of our workforce is going to be situated, because we are slowly but surely moving the greater volume of our population to this side of the river. And as we do that, it would make sense to have most of our industry placed here rather than everyone going over here to take part in industry. And with that in mind, we may even want to put some housing up here. Although it does eat into our forest somewhat. But maybe just some housing here to accommodate some of the workforce that's over here. Or that lives over here and works over there rather. So, like I say, we'll keep on upgrading those as the opportunity comes to us. And let's increase the priority of 2 of these so we can get them built. And I'm going to assign some extra workers there as well. And it's going to be next winter before that manor's built. Unless we do get done with the farms before then. Not the most favourable with the king, but who cares? If we have to raise an army to fight the king, then we will raise an army to fight the king. And with that in mind, how is our retinue? Boatlandia retinue is still small. And we can't recruit anyone. Don't know why that is. Rather bizarre. Problem with Boatlandia. What should be our strongest castle, and it'll only have half of a garrison of retinue. There we are. All as it may be is the case. How are we doing here with our vast housing expansion? It's underway for sure. Let's expand the storehouse and granary so we can get some additional workers in those locations. Localations? It's a localation. We also have our lime kiln here now. So we'll get a family in there, and we only want 10 mortar.
Firewood.
That's all we're going to need for the church. And then we'll need to trade for our dressed stone. We've got some salt production, but it does feel like it's rather dropped off a cliff. Deep mines really don't make quite so much as the large surface deposits did before them. So let's float across the lake and go and see how things are getting on with construction of the new iron ore mines in Trumaho. In fact, let's rename Trumaho and Ironheart, I think, makes the most sense. What we're going to be producing here. And one of them is complete. And go straight ahead and get 4 workers there. And we'll continue to pop some upgrades as and when they become available. Might be some time before we actually need to expand the village. By the time we're done with repairs and upgrades, it's going to be a little ways down the road, I think. Let's glide on through Nasvice, the unsettled region. And let's see how we're doing with the build-up of dressed stone. Hopefully we're starting to get there a little bit. Yeah, we are definitely increasing the number we have available to us. Let's keep an eye on the food situation here as well, because we are going to be rapidly expanding our population. Let's get a couple of additional workers at the granary and the storehouse here as well. We may even need to start thinking about some additional fruits and vegetables. We're a little low on cabbage, so maybe that's something we can look to do in this area here with some larger dwellings. So let's pop down maybe one on the corner here. Yeah, that's nice. Ironheart has increased in level again. Good for Ironheart. Still 100 days to the harvest. Construction 2 is pressing on here. Let's upgrade the properties we can upgrade. And with the others, let's get some animal pens. And we'll do a few chickens as well. We definitely don't want to do vegetables, we'll have to delete that. It's not an efficient use of space there. And let's put in our next batch of housing. Let's do that on this central section. And like so. And then bring that on down here as well. Just start to fill that space up with properties. We might, hold your breath, but we might be starting to get on top of the clothing situation. To that end, let's check the productivity down here for this family, 72%. And what are they looking like up here? Not even that much better percentage-wise, so let's assign some additional families to work as tailors. Might as well give some of the newer places we haven't actually had anyone move into yet. So let's go for that one there. And a couple of these apiaries here as well. Go for 3 of them. So we're building more over by the forest's edge. So let's speed those along and get those buildings changed over to tailors' shops. And hopefully we can finally tackle this clothing problem. We do seem to be making a decent amount of yarn. Our sheep population should be growing at a fair rate. What we may even want to do, how are we doing at the sheep farms? Let's add an additional worker there. And do we have a sheep farm over here? Yes, we do. Let's get a couple of workers there as well, because we do have lots and lots of sheep now. It may even be worth having another sheep farm. Let's get an additional worker at that weaver's workshop. And as our fuel situation stabilises, probably do away with a few workers over here to free up a construction population. And we'll set these to make regular clothes, woolen clothes. And hopefully with 3 additional families working on sewing clothes, that ought to make up the shortfall that we've been experiencing. Splendid, and once again there is hope for Boatlandia. Let's make sure, oh dear, wrong button. I'm going to have to destroy that small holding. Let's continue to upgrade these houses. And pretty soon we're going to want to start thinking about making another row. Let's get a worker at that tannery as well. Let's go and check how things are in London. Production of salt, still completely sucky. I wonder if there's a problem with the deep mines at the moment. Well, hopefully that's something that they will address in the future. Right, we have got lots of hides. No, there are no shoes. So we haven't already prepared one. Let's get down a tannery. And with the tannery, we're going to want to set up one of our residencies to be shoemakers. To do that though, yeah. I'll set you to be a cobbler. And at the trading post, let's import 20 dressed stone for the church. Which no doubt will put a strain on our finances. Hopefully we will hold fast. And there's plenty of construction going on there. Oh, and that was the cobbler's shop. Where are you hiding? There you are. So, that's fine. Righty hosey. Let's upgrade you. We've got plenty of flour still. 13 months of fuel, so we're doing okay on that front. Food, rather. And hopefully as we move into these properties, we'll be upping our production of hides and leather. And in turn shoes. In fact, we probably ought to set one of these to be a cobbler. And we are just a month and a half away from getting the harvest underway. Hopefully these foresters have been hard at work this year and their time hasn't been wasted. I sincerely hope we'll have a large forest here in a few years' time. How's construction going in Frostcheck? A few more properties that need upgrading, so we'll upgrade those, and we will assign work animals to those that we haven't already assigned, and we'll get a combination in. Let's change you to an animal pen. Lovely. And like stress, I'm not seeing that big money coming in yet. But we're still working our way up on dressed stone. I think we probably ought to open up an export on rubble, since we have 1,000 of it. Every little helps. Imagine we're still doing pretty good for pork here. 124 pork. We've got a fair few houses ready to upgrade. So let's get these upgrading before we have to reassign those families to the harvest. And we've got a couple of plots here as well that we can expand the living space on. So that's something we're going to want to get done pretty quickly. Well, having said that, we've got plenty enough new properties down here for people to move into for the moment. And let's just keep assigning those. These are going to be vegetables. Oh, lovely. Fly on over to Ironheart. Didn't take long for that to turn to rubble, did it? 9 tools. How are we doing? probably ought to be making our own tools. So let's build a bloomery. And then let's build a smithy. Let's get a couple of workers at each of these. And up the maintenance on them. This 59 ore isn't quite where we wanted to get to. I'm going to hold off on some of these upgrades for a minute. Having said that, level 2 does bring a better burgish plot rental income, i.e. some rather than none. So we'll set those working. And hopefully those mining pits are back operational. They are. Let's up the maintenance for that one as well. And once we're making our own tools for maintenance, that should significantly help. And while we've got the money and planks, probably a good time to commit to building our garrison tower. Rebuild that mining pit which collapsed straight away. Let's move this over here. Okay, that's all underway. And as we expand in Mandlik, we're waiting on our dress stone to be imported. We bought in 11, but that has rather bankrupted us. And what do we have in excess here? Carrots. We definitely need more orchards as well. That's what those properties there are for. Okay, let's upgrade these to bring us some income. And let's go to trade. And open up trade on carrots. Export everything over 600. But we're not going to open up because we don't have any money to do so. Oh well, we'll get there. Continue with these upgrades. Now, who did we accidentally turn to a small holding? You. Well, we'll leave it as a small holding. I guess you'll just make way more goat than your neighbours. So we've got a couple of shoes and a couple of clothes, that's good. So it's starting to build up a little bit of a surplus. We're going through our leather, haven't got enough hides, but that's why we're getting additional goats. Which is good. And we've got plenty of people moving in. So let's build some higher density property to increase our workforce. And we'll do that just behind here. And we'll make all of these double, which we haven't done in a while. And how is this market getting on? Not quite reaching the corner here. Or here. So let's open up a market and granary, storehouse, etc. here. Pop that there. Pop that there. And pop the market in between them. Just there. I'll pop a well there as well. Well. Yes. And 3 days away from the harvest. It's come around very quickly, it feels. Expansion continues in Frostcheck. Get those properties upgraded, and really imminently we'll need to start thinking about getting people back into the farms. Like stress, looks like we're bringing in a little bit of money now, so hopefully we're starting to sell some of our dressed stone. We still have lots of rough stone. Let's get some families working at these new stonemason stations so they can continue to pump out dressed stone. And the harvest has already started here. So let's get a second farm filled up here. And we'll just mark all of these for upgrading as and when the remaining families available for construction get round to it. Let's go and check that our mines haven't collapsed again. No, that one's still being repaired, but the others are open. And they are hopefully producing iron. They are indeed. Let's up the priority of the bloomery and the smithy. Ooh, there we go. Get a couple of people working there at the bloomery. So we can start producing our own tools domestically. And let's take a look. We should have an additional garrison available to us. We may have saturated the number we can have. We've got 4 already. We'll leave that be for the time being. Let's head over here. And we'll just slow things down a little bit and make sure that we have got enough farmers at all of our various settlements that they are available to work on the harvest. And we can start unassigning some of our foresters as we go into September to free up their labour. And evermore this land is looking more and more populated. Alright, at Boatlandia. Let's get a full complement working at that farmhouse. Already got a full complement at that one, so that's grand. And then let's check, we've got a full one up here as well. And we're going to do that by unassigning the majority of our foresters. Rust check, we'll do a similar thing. So we need to fill up here. Got plenty of spare workers actually. Now we've got lots of settlers moving into our new town. If we can leave our foresters to it, that'd be great, because we do need to get on with forestation over there. It looks like we're going to have plenty enough people to do so. Look at that, 5 left for construction without even reassigning everyone. Okay, and then over in Lagstrasse. Yep, already fully assigned. Okay. What are we going to grow here? So, it looks like cabbage and beets. So let's set the larger to cabbage, and the smaller to beets when we have the money. Because it's quite a lot of seeds to buy, admittedly. And it's looking pretty forested here, so I'm happy that we've made good progress here on making sure that we have plenty of woodland available to us. Let's swing on over to Ironheart and get a worker in at the smithy. We want 100 tools at any given time, not 1,000. So hopefully you can make a good start on that. Got some iron slabs already. We've got iron ore. And as soon as we can, let's open up trade to export iron. So we can make a start on lowering the global market price of iron. It's ridiculous. Sell it for 2 and it costs 12 to buy. May even have to set up. So 2 to sell, 12 to buy. And that's standard pricing. I think we'd be better off with barter posts. And actually, we can barter from other places. So let's start with Lagstress. Let's go and visit the pack station. And we want to trade with Ironheart. What can we afford to send to Ironheart? Planks potentially is one thing. Could send charcoal from here. Could also send stone. Yeah, let's send rubble stone and receive iron ore. So hopefully that will reduce the amount of money we're spending on importing iron ore by bringing in some of it by a pack station. Let's do the same. We're sending Gambesons to Boatlandia, we do need to do that. So let's open up an additional bartering post. Pack station, pop that there. And the pack station by Boatlandia. I'll set you to trade with Ironheart. What are we sending from here? Probably don't getting into charcoal again. Potentially pork. Potentially carrots, or even pears. Let's go for carrots. So Ironheart will send carrots, and we want to receive iron ore. And we're going to set 2 of these up. So for here, so maybe we'll also send pears. Well, okay, maybe let's see how we get on with 1 to start with. There's only so much iron ore available as well for the time being. And finally, we'll do the same here. Ironheart. What are we sending from here then? It's going to be carrots again, isn't it? Potentially bread. Or even mushrooms. Let's go for carrots again. There's going to be plenty of carrots over in Ironheart, that's for sure. And receive iron ore. Okay. So then we really just need to get on with producing as much iron ore as physically possible in Ironheart. Which I suspect will not be a problem right up until we have to get a deep mine. Which does appear to be a problem. Let's get some more of these assigned. And upgraded as well. And have we got the dressed stone we need? Not quite yet. We're up to 15 though. Continue to flesh these out. And build additional animal pens on these as well. Just like so. And that will probably do for the second. How are we doing at the farms? Yeah, we're well into ploughing for the next season. Blacksmith is running out of space at Stonemason Station. And I assume we're doing same at the farms here. Yeah, we're well into ploughing as well. Still no surplus of clothing. What are we producing? So let's go to resources and let's go to commodities, clothes. So they must just take a little while to make. Made 116. So per month we're making nearly 100 a month. It's dropped a little bit actually this season. I imagine it's because I don't know why that is actually. We shouldn't be getting less efficient. We do appear to be starting to run low on yarn. We only have so much wool. How many sheep do we have now? Let's quickly as well get this granary operational and this storehouse. So let's get serious about adding some additional sheepies. So we've got 351, which is a lot of sheep. How much pasture space do we have available? So we've got stable space, 417 out of 560. So we are going to need some more stable space, pasture space. Have we upgraded all these fields? I think we have. But there's less on fallow than there used to be. So we are going to be expanding our farm out here. So that is going to give us additional space. So we can do that. And then how are we doing? Those pasture spaces full. Gosh, the environment has changed quite a lot. 23% now on the on rural, 1% urban. So on records, resources. Let's take a look. A wool. So what we're making 20 a month. We are using more than we're making. Right, so it's basically the start of in March that we harvest it all. Then we use it up throughout the year. So let's take a look at the sheep farm. Okay. Let's make an additional sheep farm. And let's place them... Wait, 2. Place them both over here. And let's place some fields. And we're probably going to head for about a Morgan in size each. So that's pretty good. Uh-oh. Cancel that. I hear bad noises. Raiders. Now where are they coming in? The homeland. Boatlandia is threatened. Right. We must deploy our forces in strength. Let's rally the troops at a central location. In fact, yeah, let's rally down here by the river. We definitely can't. Brr. Brr. Sally forth the troops. Rally the men. And defend Boatlandia. Where are you headed? Let's also rally the retinue of Frostcheck. Hopefully they can get out of the manor this time. Yep, looks to be doing better than they did last time there was a threat, that's for sure. Okay, so one of them is getting that way, and I presume the others are heading in here. Can't cross the river over here. Can they?
Vegetables, get your daily dose of greens.
Let's set you to shoot it well. Move you into this position. And let's array our forces here.
Come one, come all. Feast your eyes.
You here. Boatlandia has rallied its men quickly. Look at that. Looks like, to a man, they've got steel helmets. How's the retinue doing? On their way out. They're making their way in. Let's pair here. Looks like they've all headed. Let's fall back. They've all come straight for Frostcheck, which I wasn't expecting. Are there any mercenaries available? Yep. To arrive in Frostcheck as well. We'll sign the contract for them. And we'll run them in to assist. May not need the men of Boatlandia, but we'll send them anyway. Right, let's not completely exhaust our men. Some of them are arrayed here. And we'll set them double their defense. Because they are rather outnumbered. Doesn't look like they've done much in the way of pillaging yet. So that's distracted one unit. We're not going to need the heavy infantry. Continue to send in these guys. They might as well go home. The last couple of the retinue are coming out. We'll array our troops here in defense. And we'll set up our infantry here. Our own brigands are engaging theirs there effectively. They may become overwhelmed and destroyed, but that's not going to matter because our infantry will be here by that time. And we'll just wait until everyone is assembled here before moving into position. Another unit. Boatlandia infantryman, footman. Boatlandia Fjord is arriving. Our mercenaries have been all but wiped out. That's not really an issue because they're not our men, so I'm not going to grieve too much. We probably are going to need someone working at the church, and we're probably going to need a raft of people working at the corpse pits. Okay. Looks like they've chosen where to fight the battle. So we'll move our troops into position. We have our retinue coming up here. Retinue may not have done much, but I think what they have done is prevented any pillaging in conjunction with our hired brigands here. So I'm going to give our troops a chance to rest up. There's no need to rush. We'll wait for the rest of this banner to arrive. And we'll continue to close in. As they begin to commit all of their forces to dealing with our last couple of hired mercenaries, while our real force begins to move in a pincer maneuver. Array those forces there, and we'll continue to move in. And they're down to a couple of units. And the bandits by this time no doubt know that the writing is on the wall. Okay, they're pushing in. We're going to set to an aggressive fighting stance. And we'll also deploy our heavy infantry to hit from the side. And hopefully this can be done without a single loss of life. And there we have it. The retinue, in conjunction with the men of Boatlandia, have seen off the would-be murderous louts. So let's return the men of Boatlandia to their homes. Thank you for your service, men, and your saving grace here in Frostcheck. And the retinue here will return back to the manor house. And how are we doing with the farms? We're still into ploughing here in Frostcheck. And we are Doing the same, I would imagine. Well, we're into crafting actually. Here in Langstrasse. Over in Ironheart. A little bit of upgrading that we can be doing. And we need to rebuild another mining pits. Let's assign a couple of additional workers here. 45 tools, and we're outputting a little bit of iron ore. Hopefully that'll pick up once that's been repaired. How are the farms doing over in Mandaluk? Harvesting, transporting and crafting, so we're almost at the end here as well. And lots available for upgrading here. Let's get straight on and upgrade the church first of all. And Boatlandia itself. How have we done? We're almost done. Yeah, we're still working on ploughing, but we are nearly there. And what I'd like to do is increase the priority for the granary and the storehouse. And with some of these properties down here, clothing wise, it looks like we're starting to come up against a little bit of a bottleneck in the yarn, as we were saying, so that's what we were doing. I remember now. We were setting up some additional fields at about the size of a Morgan each. So let's pick up where we left off. 0.9, that'll do. And do one there. Another there. And then another 3. Will be odd shapes these. But no matter, as long as we make good use of the fertility. And then another here. There is space for more there as well. The main thing for these is to have them as fallow space. Construct fences so they can be used as pasture for additional sheep pens, so we can continue to increase the number of sheep available to us. Speed things along a little bit. All those men can head home. Thank you for your service. And we're still ploughing up here as well. That's all well and good. Fantastic. Well, we've seen off yet another invasion of the enemy. And I think we're all but ready, finally, to commit. And I think that's going to be next time. That's all we have time for today, friends. I hope you found this as relaxing to watch as I found it to make. As always, I appreciate you and your feedback. Until next time, cheerio.